While at the set, Allah told me to come here and kill people. To date, there is nothing to indicate that the accused is working.
Hello and welcome to On Sheridan.
Is receiving the royal visit from Prince Harry himself, and Via Rail is increasing security at a number of train stations. But first, Arvian, have you heard about the new Ontario student grant?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but reporter Kyle Johnston has all the details after an announcement right here at Sheridan by the Minister of Labour.
So by September of 2017, what we'll see is tuition will then become free for more than half of students from families with annual incomes of $83,000. That is the median family income in the province of Ontario, or less.
The Ontario government detailed the new student grant program, announcing they plan to increase the number and value of grants and non-repayable loans for middle-class students, while families earning under $50,000 will receive a free tuition.
We look at the higher income families and realize that almost 80% of children from a higher income family end up going to post-secondary education. At the lower income families, we find that it's less than 25%.
There has been criticism over the new Ontario student grant program. Currently, it covers the average cost of tuition, $2,700 for college and $6,200 for university. Students are still expected to cover the estimated $3,000 for living and travel expenses. It is also unclear how the provincial government will determine what students will receive the grants. This isn't the first time the Ontario government has offered educational grants, but in the past, many students did not even attempt to apply because the app was overwhelming.
But it's not just about the funds that are made available, it's the transparency of the process that won't scare people off. So the intent is to try and increase our already pretty good participation and attainment rates to get closer to 100%.
Currently, more than 375,000 students in Ontario are aided by OSAP loans and grants. The provincial government estimates an additional 25,000 students will have access to post-secondary education under the new Ontario Grant Program. Reporting for On Sheridan, I'm Kyle Johnston. Arvie and Crystal, back to you.
Thanks, Kyle. Federal Immigration Minister John McCallum is looking for a way to make the immigration process easier for international students. According to the minister, international students are the best source of immigrants. They are educated, young, and speak English or French. Canadian post-secondary schools usher in thousands of international students each year.
Via Rail is beefing up its security measures this week following an unsubstantiated threat to its facilities. The RCMP and search dogs will be present at some stations, including Toronto's Union Station. A spokesperson for Via says the threat appears to be a hoax, but is urging to stay vigilant.
Toronto Police Chief Mark Sanders is urging the public not to jump to conclusions about the stabbing attack on two soldiers.
While at the scene, the accused stated that Allah told me to do this. Allah told me to come here and kill people. To date, there is nothing to indicate that the accused is working with anyone or in concert with any organization at this time.
Montreal-born Ayanli Ali has been on watch after being arrested for 3 military members in a Toronto military recruitment center. New details have come out that make it a bit harder to place blame on terrorism. Statements made by friends and family say that Ali was suffering from family and mental health issues.
Internal reports and emails are reporting that the Shared Services Canada takeover of the RCMP's tech support has been nothing short of a fiasco. The RCMP says there have been a series of mistakes and oversights from the SSC that have jeopardized several court cases and investigations. During the Parliament Hill attack, without consulting the RCMP or understanding the risks involved, the SSC shut down the disaster recovery site in an attempt to increase bandwidth. RCMP Commissioner Bob Paulson is now refusing to give the SSC any more control over technology.
Canada is making a bid for a seat on the United Nations Security Council.
So today, I'm in New York to formally announce our intention to return to the UN Security Council table.
After losing its seat in 2010, Canada hopes to begin a 2-year term in 2021. In his speech, the Prime Minister highlighted Canada's commitment to climate change, helping Syrian refugees, and promoting gender equality.
An early morning police chase ended with a suspect's car slamming into a cruiser in Ajax. It started around 1:45 a.m. when officers tried to pull over a suspected impaired driver. 38 years old Douglas Adams is charged with 8 offenses, including impaired operation of a motor vehicle by drug and failure to stop for officers.
A man has been attacked and killed Kirk Nendo. Following Nendo's arrest, Animal Services executed the search warrant and seized 5 large dogs.
Prince Harry is bringing his famous veteran challenge games to Toronto. Next year, the Invictus Games will be held in Toronto, and for the first time, hockey will be on the Games list. Veterans and those damaged by battle are invited to come and compete with other soldiers from across the world. The decision to have these games held next year in Canada is due in part to the 150th anniversary of the Confederacy of Canada. The infrastructure used in the 2015 Pan Am Games will be used and was considered for hosting the Games.
Toronto Star publisher and president of the Star Media Group, John Cruikshank, is stepping down effective May 4th. He will continue to serve as co-chairman of Canadian Press Enterprises and as one of the Star's directors on the CPE board. In a statement, Cruikshank said that he is leaving the industry to someone with less arthritic limbs and more skills. 2 Toronto surgeons are facing fraud charges following a number of false claims. The 2 had allegedly billed the provincial health system for operations in which they were not involved, as well as the insurance bills for those surgeries. Combined, the total of funds equals more than $200,000.
A new revolution in healthcare technology has parents turning into hackers. Parents of children suffering from type 1 diabetes are hacking into blood sugar monitoring devices worn by their kids to keep tabs on them. A written software code dubbed Night Scout can be uploaded to the monitoring device and connected to the cloud, giving parents access to all their child's levels. The idea of this software is to give parents peace of mind and allow more control over the children's well-being. Despite warnings, parents are still giving children under 6 cough syrup. A study shows negative side effects for young children. There was a significant push on pharmaceutical companies to put warning labels on these medications. Many of the ingredients are sedatives that can cause deadly side effects if too much is taken.
Emoticons, or emojis, used across social media these days have been exposed for gender stereotyping. Christina Churong, a web developer, made the discovery when posting a tweet about her fitness class. The 36-year-old stated that she was disappointed that the lack of athletic female emojis, that they reinforce gender stereotypes. Coming up after the break, an update on the U.S. presidential race.
And our reporter Hillary Johnson takes us on a tour of the Maple Syrup Festival at Bronte Creek. Don't go anywhere.
Sorry, water. I don't know where I put it.
2 minutes.
Okay.
Welcome back. Fox has canceled the upcoming Republican debate after Trump and Kasich both backed out. This follows Trump's decisive primary victory in Florida and 2 other states. Addressing the party's distaste for him, Trump warned that there may be riots if the GOP fights his nomination. After losing in his home state, Marco Rubio dropped out of the running. Meanwhile, Republican candidate John Kasich won in his state of Ohio, leaving him and Ted Cruz as the only 2 Republicans still running against Trump. On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton won in Florida, Ohio, and North Carolina, making Bernie Sanders' path to the White House close to impossible.
Today, President Barack Obama announced his nominee for the next U.S. Supreme Court Justice.
Today I am nominating Chief Judge Merrick Brian Garland to join the Supreme Court.
Merrick Garland is the Chief Judge of the Washington Appeals Court and a former prosecutor. The Supreme Court vacancy allows the death of Justice Antonin Scalia, who died last month. The Republican majority of the Senate has said it will block any nominee from Obama, urging the president to leave the nomination to his successor, who will be elected in November.
A University of Virginia student on vacation in North Korea has been sentenced to 15 years of hard labor for taking down a government banner. In a statement, tourist Otto Warmbier begs for forgiveness from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, saying that he wishes the United States government did not manipulate himself and others into committing crimes against North Korea. However, there is a history of North Korean detainees taking back statements after being released, raising questions whether or not these words are true.
15 people are dead and over 40 injured after an improvised bomb exploded on a bus in Pakistan. Police say the bus was bringing government employees from the surrounding townships to a conference. The bus passed through a dense urban area that is known to have a high Taliban presence, as insurgents are being forced out of the surrounding countryside. While the group has not commented on the attack, many are implying that they are to blame. A police official said that 17 pounds of explosives were planted.
2 female suicide bombers detonated themselves this morning at a mosque in Maiduguri, Nigeria. The women were disguised as men when they blew themselves up during morning prayer, killing at least 22 people and injuring 35 others. No one has yet to claim responsibility for the attack, though the area has been a target by members of the extremist group Boko Haram.
Norwegian mass murderer Anders Behring Breivik is suing the Norwegian government, saying that the state tried to kill him with 5 years of solitary confinement. According to Anders, his jail conditions were inhumane and shooting him would have been a better alternative. Breivik murdered 77 people in July 2011. He carried out a bombing in central Oslo, then drove to Utøya Island and opened fire on children at a Labour Party youth camp.
Vladimir Putin is ordering Russian air forces to leave Syria. The Russian Air Force spent the last half year bombarding the Syrian countryside. However, this morning, Reuters reported 15 of the estimated 36 jets have left the country. A spokesperson for the Center of Analysis of Strategies and Technologies in Moscow said the Kremlin pulled multiple planes to convince the international community it wasn't just bluffing.
3 men and 1 woman have been arrested near the Paris suburb of Saint-Saint-Denis, according to the French security forces. The 4 have ties to radical Islam. The capital remains on high alert since the attacks since last November that took the lives of 130 people and wounded over 100.
According to Stats Canada, the country's population this year has reached 36 million for the first time, an increase of 62,800 since last October. Based on the preliminary estimates, the increase was due to 95,300 births compared to 67,900 deaths. The growth in population has been shown in all provinces and territories except the Yukon. A new report claims that every year in Canada, 235,000 people are at some point homeless. With 35,000 on the street any given night, Trudeau's Liberal government promised to invest in affordable housing. The details of just how much are expected in next week's federal budget. Experts say funding has been shrinking since the 1990s.
Looking for a good spring outing? Fresh maple syrup is flowing at Bronte Provincial Park, part of an annual festival. Hillary Johnson has the story.
No doubt about it, eh? It's the official sign spring is on the way in Ontario, maple syrup season, and it's being celebrated at Bronte Creek Provincial Park.
We've got a beautiful, wonderful outdoor park in the midst of a lot of city, and it's a great opportunity to get outdoors and to teach other people about the outdoors as well, especially at this time of year when we're running our Maple Syrup Festival. This is a great time for people to come out and learn a little bit about the Canadian heritage.
There's a lot of history in Bronte Park, and the Maple Syrup Festival allows families to come out and enjoy the festivities while also learning about how our ancestors lived.
We're all in costumes, so we're standing on a farm that's over 100 years old. We're dressed like they would have over 100 years ago, and we're trying to sort of bring people back to that time period.
So we tell you about how they used to make maple syrup from maple sugar, as it were, in the 1600s, the First Nations, and then all the way up from kettles, the 1700s, and then into the 1900s. We also have maple sugar on site, so we actually make maple sugar for you to purchase. And we also have maple toffee, which was another treat that you could have. We have the Family Activity Center, so that's lots of families come up. There's games up there to play. There's the farmyard as well, and we do have tours of the farmhouse.
The Maple Syrup Festival is being held for the entire month of March, so come on down and enjoy a little history as well as something sweet. For On Sheridan, I'm Hillary Johnson.
We all know that maple syrup is super delicious, but did you know that it's really good for the brain too? Research in Canada and the United States shows that certain compounds found in maple syrup could possibly protect brain cells against the kind of damage found in Alzheimer's disease. So go ahead and pour lots of that on your pancakes. After the break, we'll have the latest in the world of sports.
And reporter Tarek Bashal takes us backstage at Toronto Fashion Week. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Let's go to Kelsey with sports. Kelsey, how did our boys in blue and white do last night?
Well, Crystal, our Toronto Maple Leafs took on the Tampa Bay Lightning last night, and Leaf fans were celebrating as they saw their team take down one of the top powerhouses in the NHL, 4-1. Connor Carrick picked up his first goal as a Leaf, and with helpers from Parenteau, Hyman, and Ben Smith, Babcock and his young guns got the job done again. The Buds have won 3 out of the last 4 and will be looking for a 4th win when they take on another tough opponent, the Florida Panthers, tomorrow night at the ACC. And Kyle Lowry led his squad with 25 points and a win over the Milwaukee Bucks last night. The Raps had everything going for them. In Milwaukee, Bismack Bayomi had rebounds and 2 blocks. Rookie Norman Powell scored a season-high 17 points, and Kyle Lowry, shooting 4 of 6 from the arc, draining 25 points with 11 assists, helped the Raps stomp on the Bucks in their home court and take the win 107-89. And now Edwin Encarnacion is sidelined again for the second time in Jay's spring training. This time, instead of an obsessed tooth, the slugger has suffered an oblique injury. Manager John Gibbons says it's a minor problem and that the all-star first baseman will be good to go for the April 3rd opener at Tampa Bay. The Blue Jays face the Yankees in preseason tonight at Tampa. Hutchinson is expected to start. And the world of college basketball has gone a little crazy. That's right, March Madness has begun. A tournament loved for its upsets when high-seed teams fall to teams you've probably never heard of. The game started yesterday with Wichita State beating Vanderbilt and Florida Gulf Coast bulldozing over Fairleigh Dickinson. The final 4 games will be played tonight as Michigan takes on Tulsa and Holy Cross looks to pull an upset over Southern University. Obama, the bracketologist, has made his predictions.
I think the Jayhawks in a squeaker get past UNC.
Thanks, Obama, but I'll be taking Michigan State in this one. Viewers, you can finalize your brackets tonight as games start tomorrow as early as 1:30 p.m. And FIFA has issued a victim claim to the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York demanding tens of millions of dollars to be repaid to the football organization. FIFA President Gianni Infantino says the money stolen from the organization through bribes and corrupt members rightfully belongs to the development and promotion of the game. In the 22-page claim, FIFA is seeking to claim part of $190 million that was seized by U.S. federal prosecutors from the 41 indicted members and organizations involved in the scandal, and a share of the money yet to be recovered. Infantino goes on to say that the money stolen was meant to build soccer fields and fund youth player development, not build mansions and pools. And Euro 2016 is just a few months away. Our sports reporter, Tanya Maruzik, takes a look at how soccer is the hottest international sport.
Hockey is Canada's game. Soccer is the world's.
Hockey's a great sport for Canadians, Americans, and North Americans, but I think soccer is definitely an international sport. I think no matter where you come from, as far as social status is concerned, you can play soccer. You don't need much equipment, you need a ball and some friends.
Soccer is a top sport that has the power to unite the world. In 2014, 715.1 million people tuned into the FIFA World Cup final as Germany faced Spain.
Soccer being the sport everyone can play all around the world, like it definitely unites the world. You can see how peaceful everyone come together, like at the World Cup and like the Euro.
Don't let the Canadian weather hold you back. Indoor soccer is offered all year round, and you can Google sports venues in your area that offer various leagues.
I think they're both actually two completely different sports. I think indoor soccer has its own kind of rules to it. I think outdoor is just as different. You don't burn your knees every time you fall and hit the ground outside.
Just more space. It's outside. Obviously, being outside is way better. Rain, snow, sun, it doesn't matter. Plus, there's bigger nets too. It's way better.
These lads may not be the next Ronaldo, Messi, or Lewandowski, but they have one thing in common. And that is, they all have the same love and passion for this beautiful game. For On Sheridan, I'm Tanya Maruzik.
That's it for your weekly sports updates. Now over to Olivia with entertainment.
Thank you, Kelsey. This week is Fashion Week in Toronto, and our reporter, Tarek Michelle, takes us backstage and in front of the runway of Canada's top designers.
Every year, the scene backstage at Toronto Fashion Week is chaotic, with hair and makeup artists gathered around models to get them ready for the runway.
I'm part of the Maybelline squad for 2016, which means that we promote the line with different products and tips and tricks, and then I come backstage to see how the makeup's done by the lead makeup artist, Grace.
Canadian designer Michael Kale's fashion show kicked off Fashion Week with a few slips and falls. Those plastic shoe coverings made it even more difficult for models to walk on the runway, which was already wet. Despite the shaky start, the show and collection created a buzz in the local fashion community. It also received positive reviews.
I come to Fashion Week because I'm a fashion blogger. I love to see what's up and coming for the season, network, promote my blog, and meet amazing people. Such a great atmosphere to kind of all be in this chaos at once.
Designer Christopher Pawnil presented his bridal collection for the first time at Toronto Fashion Week, showing simple yet sophisticated gowns with diamond accessories.
Local fashion designers like Ellie Mae, who recently dressed Sophie Trudeau, have yet to showcase their collections. I'm Tarek Mashal at Toronto Fashion Week, reporting for On Sheridan.
Mariah Carey may be her sister's heartbreaker. Allison Carey is HIV positive and in need of spinal and brain surgery. The pop icon allegedly hasn't spoken to her 54-year-old sister since 1995. Mariah's older brother Morgan called Mariah a witch, telling The Sun UK that the pop diva has not been around. The We Belong Together songstress claimed that she's been taking care of Allison and her family for years. Maybe the family feud will play out on MC's new reality show with E! One of the infamous hackers who leaked photos and videos of many A-list celebrities in 2015 may be facing up to 5 years in prison. Ryan Collins was charged with unauthorized access to a protected computer. According to court documents, Collins and a group of hackers got into 100 computers, 18 of them were celebrities such as Jennifer Lawrence and Kate Upton. The hackers struck a plea deal. Prosecutors say he will only serve 18 months. Jay-Z has removed his music from iTunes, Amazon, and Spotify. The hip-hop mogul's music will only be on his platform Tidal. Tidal may have had a rocky start, but the release of Kanye's recent album, The Life of Pablo, brought the streaming service more than 1.5 million subscribers. Paid streaming services like Tidal may just be the trick to save the music industry, and Jay-Z is always ahead of the curve. The Walt Disney Company is set to release the 5th installment of the Indiana Jones franchise in 2019. Harrison Ford will reprise his role, but the rest of the film has not been casted. Steven Spielberg will return as the director. Disney received the rights to Indiana Jones back in 2012 when they purchased Lucasfilms, which was founded by George Lucas, created by the franchise. Some members of the Academy are worried they may lose their privileges to vote. Concerns are being expressed after the Board of Governors for the Academy of Motion Picture Art and Sciences met to discuss changes to improve diversity as the result of this year's Oscars. This year's Oscar Awards had the lowest ratings in almost a decade. That's all for entertainment today. Now let's go back to the news desk with Arvind and Crystal.
Coming up, Brendan Saunders will have your 5-day forecast.
Stay tuned.
Cool. We might have to kill the With all the rain, wind, and fog, it would be a great day to stay out inside. Let's go outside to Brendan to see if the sun has broken through the clouds. Brendan?
Hey guys, well this time last week you probably thought, whoa, spring came early, no more fog, no more rain, and definitely no more Brendan Saunders saying that we got a mixed bag this week, because every day is going to be warm, right? Well, good news for you mixed bag fans, we got a whole new week of mixed bag. Time to see what's up this week in weather. Let's take out my 5-day forecast. So, on Thursday, it's a pretty nice day. We're looking at a daytime high of 9, with a chance of showers. Friday, we can expect a more seasonal day with a chance of snow, rain, and a brisk high of 3. Saturday, we move away from the snow, but keep the temperatures with our high being 2 and our low being -4. Those sunny skies will continue into the first day of spring. Oh, baby, I can't wait to say that. On Sunday, our high will be 5 and our low will be -1, which all in all is pretty fair for spring. Monday is the same as sunny skies. Our high will be 2 and our low will be -5. I hope you guys all enjoyed that super awesome mixed bag forecast. That might be the last one you ever hear. That's the last for me in weather. Now back to you guys in the newsroom.
An Italian shoe company is working on a new product that lets you charge your cell phone. Vibram has developed technology that converts energy made from movement into an integrated system in the sole of your shoe that powers your phone. The company believes enough energy could be created to heat your shoes too. That's all we have for today. For On Sheridan, I'm Arvind Jones.
And I'm Crystal Devines. Have a wonderful Wednesday.